any of that shit, Final Fantasy 14 or Guild Wars 2. I did ESO and Fallout 76 and Rust, right? And I don't know, some WoW, but not really. I mean, I did retail a lot. I did all of the retail expansions, but not like classic. I didn't like classic. So, and I still have not capped a classic character to 60. I'll be the first one to admit. I feel that with no shame. I've lost like 30 hardcore characters, and I'm more proud of that than I am of the fact that I never did reach 60 in either classic or SOD. I have 50 characters to level 80 plus on retail, but I couldn't handle the classic leveling experience. It's the same old repetitious hold a button and wait. And I've never really been able to handle it. I'm very happy with hardcore. And I'm going to go back to it, and I'm going to enjoy it more when I have a lot more rested XP and stuff. But I don't really like classic. Not like retail. I like retail more because you can just run a rotation all day and fly around and do stuff like this and not have any focus at all. And the game will just entertain you. You know? I should maybe go back to retail, but I don't really like WoW. I don't really like WoW anymore compared to this. I definitely don't. And so it's weird. I'm experiencing that like, oh my god moment when Realm Reborn hit and everybody thought Final Fantasy 14 was suddenly good. I mean, I know I did for about a year, and then I was like, no, this game is not even close to 11, not even close. And oh, good. Wind's ended. I can go outside now. What time is it? It is it's like 3:50 in the afternoon. I can probably get a little bit more mining done. Must repair first. Repair what? I can't repair it because it's going to take wood. Yeah, I took some wind damage, but nothing to hurt my boxes or anything. I don't really see any wood in here. Do I have to chop wood again? There we go. That's wood, right? Yeah, that's wood. Oh yeah, I'm fixing this hammer, I think. Yeah, and then we'll fix the base and we'll leave. I had to be honest with myself when I play these games anymore. When I was a kid, up until I think the age of like 35 or something like that, and now I'm a little bit older, like about 8-10 years old or something like that, right? And I've understood that if I don't follow my instincts, I will suffer. And I think that I did follow, and 76 was the right instinct. I think 76 was the right instinct. I think Rust was the right instinct. I think this game's the right instinct. I think FFXI and EvE is the right instinct. And all the time I think about, what I could stand to lose. Oh, did I not fit the ships though? Did you log me out because of downtime? Yeah. That's okay. Did you patch? Yeah. And so, and honestly, I don't know anybody with a game roster like mine. Maybe there is some MMO people out there like that, but I don't know. I don't really think so. And I think all the time about my choices are not good games, but they're good games to me because they can keep me endlessly entertained. It's like weird. And so, and I think I'm always going to struggle. Like, I realize now why Asmongold got so famous, because no matter what, and I can show you right now. You want to know why Asmongold is still famous? I'll tell you why. I can show you. I can, like, literally fucking show you. If I try to go up under World of Warcraft, even 23 fucking years later, right? 23 fucking years later, I'm dead serious. If I try to go up under World of Warcraft here, wow, I'm going to see between 26,000 and 350,000 viewers, depending on what day it is. And now, if you didn't get in back when it was popular, like 5 years ago, 7 years ago, something like that, and streaming was setting off, and if you weren't in before COVID, your chance of making it in here, I would say, is like maybe 1% or something like that. I would say mine is like 1%, 2% maybe, because I have follows from other games. So I think I probably have like a 2% chance of like maybe rising a little higher than the average WoW player maybe. But overall, the average WoW player is going to try to start doing this, and they're going to get views and stuff, but they're not going to get money or follows for years and years, because there's all kinds of viewership, but they're all watching about the same 10 streamers. I can go to the channel and I can show you, but I don't need to. I don't need to do all that. It's the truth. And I don't know why a 23-year-old game would have more viewership than fucking Rust, you know? But it does. And I just can't bring myself to care for or care about WoW, or care about dying in hardcore, or care about the grind, or care about loot, or the only reason I was able to play hardcore is it feels like extraction, and it's not hard, but it's unforgiving. And it definitely feels like a roguelike that I play a lot more seriously, which is good. And I've been getting to like level 30 successfully. But my problem is I couldn't get past normal classic, past level 40, before I was so goddamn bored to death. And I remember the quest that I stopped on. It was like Zanzil's mixture and fucking STV, where you have to get like 15 or whatever it is, Witch Doctor's Zanzil mixtures or whatever the fuck it is. And I think I must have spent like 5 hours there trying to get the drop rate to fucking give up the last goddamn mixture. And the last mixture was like 2 hours and 15 minutes or something of just grinding mobs. It was nothing but that. That was long before I was a streamer. Long before, like 2 years before, something like that. And I was like, what? Oh, no, I thought I heard something, but maybe not. It's probably that. And like, and I knew then that I would never have the discipline to do classic, and I still sort of know it. I'm still surprised when I'm able to make it to like level 30 even, because I'm like, this is so goddamn boring to me compared to New World or Rust or Fallout 76 or even EvE. EvE, every time that I leave this goddamn station, like, what did I just buy? I bought like a whole fuck ton of ventures. Yeah, I didn't buy Tristan's. I suppose I should. I guess I'm in the mood to spend money, because I spent a lot of money in the last couple of days. A lot of money, like 2.6 billion or something like that. It's insane. I have 16 new items for some reason. What are they? Oops. What are these new items you speak of? I don't think I know what you are talking about. I don't see anything standing out that I need to worry about too much. Don't think. No. So, yeah, and all these ships are fit, I believe. Yeah, I believe they are. Oh, yeah, it looks like they are. So there I have a whole slew of fucking ventures to go lose in Poshvon, which I'm going to go do right now. Or no, well, I don't know. Well, yeah, I'm going to stay up late today, because I'm going to sleep in late until like 4. And I'm going to wake up and... No, I'm not going to go do Magic the Gathering, because I know that I'll spend a bunch of money on it, and I don't have any money. No, I'm just going to do my normal day. I'm going to do my normal day. I'm not ready. I'm not ready. Or, well, I'm ready, but it's the money. The money is actually a problem for me. I'm like, motherfucker, I know I will spend like $100. I don't have $100. I just straight up do not have it. I mean, I have it, but I don't have it to spend. And I know that the unwise thing to do right now is to spend shit on funny money. If anything bad happens, like, if anything bad happens to this 5-year-old computer, I will be so mad. You know, so I need some way out of that if it happens. And so I know. No, Magic's really fun, and it takes like 3 hours. It's fine. It gets me out of the house and stuff. It's a good plan. I think it is a good plan, actually. It's fine. No one's here because of the reset. That's funny. Active. Avasti, mateys, it's time to rob people. Or no, I guess I'm mining now. I did all that shit. Okay, we form a fleet. And we go to militia. And we jump out. Cloudistic activate.
Warp drive active.
You know, this is the second time I've dyed my armor like fucking Jay Green. This is the only color that stands out on the store at all. It's not like I try to do that. I just like intrinsically navigated to the only color with any actual taste in the entire store twice in a row. It's kind of funny. On 2 different sets. And I didn't mean to, it just happened. Because it's the only color that's good. Oh no. Oh wait, never mind. Okay, so Bez. Yeah, we'll go work some Bez. Oh shit, am I in? Yes, I am. Fuck, food critical. How is food critical? Didn't I just eat? Raw meat. I best go cook some meat, I guess. I should not run the timer like this. It's already night again. Where's the campfire? Activate. And we want to put you in there. Oops, no. Put you in there and cook. One, 2, 3, 4. I gotta wait 20 seconds here. I'm gonna drink some water as well. Okay. I think I'm gonna turn off her like sounds. Yeah, the character voice volume is annoying me. I want to turn it off. What's this? Oh no, what is that? It's a Garmer. Oh no, station. Go, Doc. I can't. I just got here. Nice, just got here. Yeah, you tackle me. Am I waiting for somebody or something? I don't know. You don't have weapons or what? I don't know. Kill me if you're gonna kill me then. Consume, stack up, we back up again. You can go off now. Store all. Oh, but you probably won't let me leave or something. You're trolling me, are you? No, here's a jogger. Hi, guys. That's on the mill, you know? It was 25 seconds. I believe it was. It was like 25 seconds from jump to tackle. What the fuck is that? Yeah, kill me. Let's go. You too. Where was this? Oh my god. Okay, we'll go back out.
Warp drive active.
And I'm gonna put the thing back up. And my bed's now gone. Why is my bed gone? Do you only get one use with it? Is that what it is? I mean, what is this? Oh my god. What's a bed? It's like that and that, I think, or something like that. Let's see. Bedroll, bedroll. Crafting. Search for bedroll. Stick in fur. Okay, fur. Need fur and stick. Fur and stick. Fur. Stick. Crafting of a bedroll. Make it again. Go. And now we will put down a bedroll right next to this fire. Sleep. And it's now 7 a.m. The bedroll's right here right now, but I think when the storm comes, it kills the bedroll, I guess. That's fine. I am going to return to character select now, and then we jump back out and go right the fuck back out. Activate. Great.
Warp drive active.
Uh-oh. A Loki? The fuck are you doing here? Well, that's definitely safety. Why do I see an arrow right there? Oh, because it's my arrow. No, wait, he popped through and he jumped. I don't know. I made it out here safe, and that's the main thing. Okay, let's go back to something else here. Yeah.
Wise to what you're going to be experiencing. I can't remember if I finished my point there, but either way, the cash up doesn't seem like super egregious, at least for now. This can definitely change. but I don't think they're incentivized to at the moment, because this is like the fairest it's ever going to be. And if people won't play, even when it's as fair as it is, you know, fair in a South Korean MMORPG, you know what I'm saying? It's as fair as it's going to get, typically. If people are not going to play when that's the case, if they add more monetization to make it worse, the game's fucked. So with the reception of it already in South Korea, and the fact that the numbers in the West are not, they're not gangbusters, the numbers are not crazy, it's not New World, you know, peaking at like almost 1 million players, it's a couple 100,000 for a game that is free to play. With the diabolical drop off of things like Lost Ark and New World already, with this having like a much lower ceiling in terms of the numbers it's reached quickly, this can fall off very, very quickly. So they'd be really shooting themselves in the balls if they decided to add a bunch more monetization to something that, you know, that is already kind of a selling point of it being not too crazy. That's a fair few of the pros and the cons. Some of the middle ground stuff that I've got written down here is the combat. The combat is flashy, it looks cool, the visuals are really nice, and
I don't think so. I didn't think the combat looks good.
Customizing your character and things like that.
Like, I didn't think it visually looked good.
The readability and things just isn't all that great. I can imagine getting way worse, and maybe you
can't even tell what's going on most of the time.
But in general, like, the combat just looks fine. It feels okay if you can get around some of the issues with it and things like that. One thing that I will say is that probably the biggest middle ground point of my playing the game is the timetable system, which, if you don't know, basically there's events in the game, including field bosses, which are essentially world bosses from Black Desert Online or basically any other game, as well as like these little events. The little events are actually really cool and pretty well designed in terms of how they make you feel while you're playing them. As soon as you start the game, within the first probably hour or so, you'll probably get told to do an event where you kill wolves, and you're going to be killing wolves for 20 minutes, which sounds stupid and bad and dumb, but it will be making you compete against everyone else in the zone that's also killing wolves. You collect their tails, you deposit them, and whoever gets the most tails, you get ranked in like a little leaderboard, and you get reward participation based on where you ranked. And the fact that it's making you compete, but not in like a super overtly direct way in terms of like fighting each other or whatever, it just makes you involved in the minigame and makes it fun, and it doesn't seem like it's 20 minutes because you gotta go fast. You're playing Sonic time, and that's cool. The problem is that obviously with the timetable system, this benefits people who can be on when they can be on. If you know a boss is coming up at X time and you can be on, that's cool, that's great. But if you're somebody who can only get on sporadically, if you're somebody who's like a father, a recent father, or somebody who's got like a weird schedule with their job or whatever, there's probably times where you're just not going to get to do certain things. If a boss spawns at, you know, 7, 11, 4, 4, 9 throughout the day or whatever it is, then you can't get on for those specific times and be there for like 30 plus minutes usually, then you're probably just not going to get to do stuff, which basically means that there is content that's gating you if you can't get on at certain times, which is a pro and a con depending on how your life works and how you can play. With that being said, I don't know if I'm doing it wrong, but the field bosses are probably the worst content I've ever seen in a MMORPG ever. They're fucking trash. I might be bad, maybe it's a skill issue. The readability of the abilities that the boss does is terrible.
I didn't like it at all.
Fucking forever to kill. And if you're taking like 45 minutes to kill one of these field bosses that's like level 40, and there's like a few dozen people there killing it with you, because essentially what it does is it spawns, portals spawn, you go in the portals, they have a maximum amount of people, you're incentivized to go in with your guild, obviously, so you've got the most people possible, and then the loot drops based on guild participation. So if you're not in a guild, chances of you getting something is basically fucking zero anyway, or very close to it. But maybe you'll get lucky, maybe you'll get something. If you don't, I did one yesterday, and this is while I was leveling, so I was only like level 30 something. The boss took 45 minutes to kill, and I got basically nothing from it. It wasn't fun in any way. It was just mind numbing, just pressing my buttons over and over again, stood in front of a bullet sponge. It was bad content. It was really, really bad content. Maybe this again is a skill issue, but if that's the case, that's a game issue in terms of it didn't, you know, explain anything. There wasn't any barrier for me getting in there There wasn't any organization or anything like that. This is an issue other people are going to run into as well. Maybe it'll get better once other people get gear and they kill it faster, but you will probably run into this problem, and it's just bad. Honestly, the way that this worked was I did some of the events, felt that they were really cool, enjoyed them a lot, turned the game on to stream it to my brother and my friends on Discord, and was like, oh yeah, this is my first time doing a boss, it's gonna be cool, hopefully. And then went in there and I felt like, you know, when you show somebody a video you thought was really fun and really interesting,
Yep.
and then they, you know, you're expecting them to laugh and you're looking at them expectantly and they don't, and you feel like a dickhead. That's how I felt when I showed them this thing, because this boss was fucking, it was bad. It was not a good selling point in the game ever. It looked goofy, it felt goofy.
Ugh.
And it's just shit content, and it's designed again around that mobile element of, we want these bosses to basically be contribution based, so the people who spend the most money do the most damage, get the most stuff, and the rich get richer, and it makes everyone else feel like a fucking idiot. And I did feel like an idiot while I was doing it. So there is that. We went over the movement, we went over stuff like that. Customization of your character is a double-edged sword, because while there is a lot of it and you can basically make like interesting decisions and things, the game does deceptively sort of lock you into decisions whereby if you make a mistake and you don't rectify that mistake very quickly, you're essentially playing catch up all the time, and then you're putting yourself behind other people who know more than you. You're kind of at like an information gap anyway, because people have played this game in Korea. It's one of the things I hate about MMOs. The game comes out and there's already a million hours of guides of people who played the game in another region. You speedrun everything, they get everything faster than you, they know everything more than you, and then you feel like an idiot, especially when the game punishes you for that. It's fine if you're into that sort of thing. I typically am. It's not a big problem for me, but it does feel like essentially after playing the game for 20 hours, if you want to change, there are essentially things you can buy, transfer over your progress, and the game has given you them throughout the leveling process in case you made a mistake. It's probably not as punishing for you if you decide very early on, but the fact that you are kind of locked into this, and you might feel gimped if you didn't read or watch guides before you started, is, you know, going to be an issue for some people. It's kind of a problem with games like Path of Exile and stuff, where you don't know what you don't know. Like, you're unaware of the actual information gap and things like that. This goes for the gearing as well, which this is not a middle ground point. I think this firmly fits in my cons list. The gearing in this game is what I hate about South Korean MMOs in general, and what I hate about MMOs in general, because World of Warcraft retail is kind of like this now, where there's like a million currencies and things like that. If you combine the user interface, the GUI, whatever you want to call it, in Throne and Liberty to games from sort of like 10 years ago, you're going to see what I mean, that it's just, there's just a bunch of stuff. It's constantly screaming at you, it constantly wants you to open stuff, and then you have just like a million items in your inventory that the game constantly bombards you with, that you're not entirely sure of what they do, you're not sure where they go, you're not sure how best to use them. And the gearing is kind of the same thing. It kind of throws you in the deep end of not knowing what the fuck's going on. But I think my biggest issue with these games always is going to be that the game wants you to essentially have, like, maybe there's 100 pieces of gear in the whole game. Maybe that's a low estimate, maybe it's not. But basically it wants you to just smash these pieces of gear together, extract traits from them, and like always have the same pieces of gear till you move up a tier.
I don't
and then
like
you'll
that
basically
system.
have that tier of gear till you move up another one.
I like grinders.
And it feels like there's just
I like
a
improving
distinct lack of,
gears
like,
with
progressive
grinders,
feeling. And maybe
but
you'll completely disagree with this. It's just
you know,
a
in the
feeling that
PSO
I get.
sense,
It's not an
but I
objective
don't
thing, it's just
like
something I can really
using the
pin,
same
you
weapon
know, pin the
forever.
tail on the donkey, so to speak. But I just feel when I'm playing these games where it's constantly like, oh, you got a piece of gear that's exactly the same. It's just a green, it's a green sword, and then you got another green sword, and it's the same thing. And then, you know, you move on and you get a blue sword, and you feel like, oh yeah, cool, I got a blue sword, and then there's a purple sword. It doesn't feel all that exciting. And when you combine the fact that you're getting gear very sporadically, and the actual rare stuff is stuff that you're probably not ever going to see drop yourself because guilds are getting it and things like that, and you've got to be very lucky to get them to drop in the first place, it just makes the whole gearing and like inventory system feel poor. It just doesn't feel fun, in my opinion. I like MMOs to be like ARPGs, when you're just getting a bunch of stuff, but you know that like you have a decision on whether you want to use this stuff or not, and it's varied and it's interesting. I don't feel like that's the case with this, but you know, maybe I'm just wrong and didn't experience it. I feel like the reason South Korean MMOs typically do this, and phone games do this very, very often, is to have a bunch of actual currencies and things, so that you don't notice what you're using, and everything has like a different value in your brain, and they usually do that for a cash shop reason. And obviously that's like a big red flag when the game feels and looks kind of like an MMO. And you'll know what I mean if you've ever played I've been forced essentially to play some phone MMOs, South Korean phone MMOs in particular, when I've been sponsored for a video. And I'm telling you, if you've ever played one of those, compare the user interface and like the systems in this game, and it feels
the same.
You know, you're gonna have deja vu. I will wrap this up now, and I will just say that the biggest negative with this game is going to be the perception. A lot of people right now are having like the honeymoon phase. If you go on Reddit, if you go on Twitter, if you go on whatever else, people are going to be saying like, oh, you know, I don't know what people were complaining about. I'm having a lot of fun. And to be honest, the game is fun. If you can get past the combat, if you can get past the dreaded feeling that something's wrong, and you know, eventually something's going to make you quit the game, which all games do. You don't play any game forever. If you can get over that, you can have some fun with this, especially for the low
I played WoW forever.
Nothing. It's not egregiously monetized, at least for you trying the game out originally, and it's
FFXI
not a game from like,
I started playing FFXI when it was 6 weeks old or something like that, and I've been playing it the whole time it's been out. Probably played it my whole life, honestly. I think you're wrong about this. I feel like when I'm swinging bottom left, it's a little slower than everywhere else. Like up and down feels really fast. See it really fucking fast, and left and right feel really fucking fast. But when I try to go downwards and left, see it? It's slower. It is slower. Look, if I go right, it's about the same actually. Left and right are slower. It's weird. Like up and down, it's really fast. Like as fast as my hand, but left and right, I feel like I actually kind of need to. So does it feel like the resolution in 3D games could be higher sometimes? Not resolution, but the sensitivity, excuse me.
Of just playing it as a game and not trying to treat it as if something, you know, you're going to retire in, which I think people do too often with games in general. You can enjoy this for the time it takes to get from point A to point Z, and any time you play after that is just gravy. I think it's fine. The issue is that if you are looking at an MMO like a investment of time, which I do think is a little bit odd, but at the same time I understand, this game has a lot of big question marks about where it's going, where it's headed, because we can see from data that this game is not well received in Korea, and that means that the audience that this game was designed for doesn't like it, which means you can argue that there are outliers, there are examples of games that have come out that a region didn't fuck with, a region didn't like, and then another one really did. That's fine. I just think with this,
I think the best game that Korea ever had taste in at all was Terra. It was the only one, and Terra was, in the end, a bad game. It's the only one that's dead. It's the only MMO that's not running still. And yeah, it was just way too, whatever you want to call it, grinder. And I love Terra, and I miss Terra, and I wish there was like a private Terra server, but I don't need Terra to still be there. And I think all Korean games are kind of like Terra a little bit. I think they're designed to be there for maybe 3 years. 1, 2, 3 years maybe for Koreans, really. It's weird because they come to the Western market and we act like we're the largest consumers and that we know best. But no, it's the whole world knows best. We don't know anything.
Probably not going to be one of those outliers. With that being the case, do I think they're going to abandon it very quickly? Probably not,
No.
because the game is doing good numbers right now. but at the same time, there must be something. It feels like there's a lack of content in the game in the first place, unless you're somebody who's going to be doing the end game PvP, like the Guild Wars and stuff like that. And from my experience, that's a very small percentage of the actual population that play games like this. I don't think if you're a PvE player or a life skiller, this game has enough to keep you in it compared to its counterparts. Because as I always say, you're not just competing with, you know, other similar games, you're competing with all forms of media when you release something, whether it's a YouTube video, a book, or a video game or a TV show, whatever it is. You're competing with everything. And if you're a PvEer, if you're a dungeon player, if you're a raid player, if you're a farmer, if you want to go pick flowers, if you want to go decorate a house or whatever, there's a million other games that do everything better than this game does. So unless you're somebody who just fits into this mold of all the little things that this does and have a big PvP focus,
yeah, there was nothing original in this game.
Long-term one for you, which is probably
there was nothing original. I don't think there was a single original. I don't think there was a single original design in this game. And I think that's necessary. For a good MMO. They've got a...
a reason why it's failed in South Korea, because there's
I immediately rolled healer.
games that just do what the core premise of being a big PvP game does, but better than Throne and Liberty, already out, that's already popular in the South Korean market. So with that being the case, would I recommend you play Throne and Liberty off of the first impressions? It depends, really. Do you value your time? Do you want everything to be like a big investment and to know that, you know, 5 years later you're going to still be playing the game, or you're going to come back to it and it's going to have had 5 years of updates and your account's going to be waiting for you? Probably not. There's content planned for this game for the future. They're probably going to still continue maintaining the game. I don't think it's going to go anywhere in the very short term. But with that being said, there are just games that do what this game does, but better. The only thing this game does better than its contemporaries are basically the world and the technical aspect, which is very impressive, and I wish was a standard for the MMO industry. And it's a shame that the games that we get come out that are really impressive in this way are usually ones that are like sort of like a short-term vapid experience that go away for most people after a couple of weeks or a couple of months. But with that being the case, I would recommend, as a free-to-play game, if you want to just kill some time and have a little bit of fun with something that you don't have to marry, then, you know, Throne Liberty is fine. I just wouldn't... I don't hate the game, I don't love the game, it's just kind of like, I'll log in after this video is posted probably and play for another couple hours, but will I still be playing it in a week's time or in a month's time? Probably not, if I had to guess. If you want to see like a full review, I know this is already a long review and probably a little bit meandering. You know, we've
it is
on
5 in the
a
fucking
bit of a beaten
morning
path around a long winding road. Let me know in the comments, because if I do continue playing, maybe, you know, I'll do some of the more end game stuff and do some of the PvP, and then really change my tune and say that this is a fantastic or a terrible game. But with that being the case, thank you very much for watching as always. Hopefully you enjoyed, and if you want to see stuff like this in the future, I've got a bunch of videos planned that are for older games that I played recently or whatever, that I might just release as reviews, because whatever, I might as well, right, if I've already played it and I've already recorded the video. And maybe the Who Asked video review series will continue, but it is what it is. Hopefully you enjoyed. But there we go. Let me know what you think. If you played the game, if you don't want to play the game, just let me know in the comments. Let me know what type of content you want to see. Do you want to see more reviews? Do you want to see more laughing at crypto bros? Suggest me stuff if you got anything in mind. And yeah, thanks for watching. Go buy GameStops, link in the video description. 10% discount code for you. I get a kickback, and appreciate you all as usual. See you next time. Peace.
50, 70.
Okay. Here we are going live, and gee, it's bugging me sideways. Sorry. Had a bit of tea and biscuit caught in my throat. But welcome, ladies and gentlemen, to my live stream. This is the wonderful, glorious, and majestic game of Victoria Free. Who am I? I am, of course, the Spiffing Brit, and I'm playing a early access-ish copy of Victoria Free. Just to let you guys know, I've had access to this game for probably about almost... Like, I probably had access for it for about 2.5 months. I've had... My first access to the game was about 8 months ago. Actually, it was like February, so it was ages ago. Yeah, it was probably about 8 months ago. It's safe to say I've put a lot of time into this game.
Race the Chaos of Exploit. Space Marine 2 is perfectly balanced. Theory of Everything. Stephen Hawking. Members only live stream. Total War. Rome 2. Super Secret. Spiffing Brit. Total War. Rome 2. Icarus gameplay. Icarus first time play. Anno 2070. Space War Crime Simulator. Into the Movies 2.
Now, there are a lot of creators out there.
Nope, stop. Elden Ring, but I'm only leveling dexterity. No. Okay, that fucking guy, those guys chasing me are probably off me now. I'm gonna go about my business. Oh, there's no site here.
Warp drive active.
Wow.
Warp drive active.
The wolves howling in the background are so annoying. I don't like that the storms come. They're kind of annoying. I wish you could turn them off. Or whatever. Over here, we're going out to... This is all Spo domain. Somebody already hit all this?
Warp drive active.
No, nobody's here. Oh, wait. No. Yeah, no, nobody's here, so I don't know. I have no idea. Legendary Zarzak. The hell is that? Yeah, we never did finish that Mr. Matty Plays. I guess I'll do that. Here, there's the lean-tos that I was talking about. See it? That everyone should know. This is the video that I was probably looking for, Survival Lily. See it, all that stuff, right? I was supposed to talk about Starfield. They really want me to watch this for some interest. For some reason, I'm not interested in that. You've been trying to show me that for months. This one too. I'm not interested in this one either. I don't really care about Little Dicky. This guy's funny, but ooh, Praxis Battleship giveaway winner revealed. What? Those were funny. Everything you didn't know about his shitty past. Donald Trump's Everything You Didn't Know About His Shitty Past is actually really fucking good. Let's go watch that one. That was actually really good. I didn't finish it. I was walking yesterday. Tucker Carlson, Everything You Didn't Know. Elon Musk, Donald Trump, Everything You Didn't Know About His Shitty Past. Let's listen to this one. This one's funny.
Along the way.
Yeah, this is really
Hello,
funny.
YouTube, and welcome to the latest edition of This Guy, the show where we pick one guy who's making America worse and explain why they suck. I'm Erin
They
Ryan,
suck.
host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
You
And
suck,
I'm
dude.
Alyssa Mastromonaco, the
Fuck you,
other
Trump.
host of Crooked Media's Hysteria podcast.
I'd like to start this episode with a fun riddle. What happens when Krusty the Clown has a baby with the least talented Kardashian?
Krusty the Clown Kardashian? Well, you get 3 Ks in a row, that's for sure. But I think I get where you're headed. Somebody whose greatest strength is getting attention, who has an almost pathological need to be talked about, and a willingness to throw just about anybody under the bus in chasing the growing amount of validation he needs to survive. There is only one fucking guy this could
Krusty the Clown Kardashian.
be about, and it's not Mickey Mouse.
Donald Trump wishes he were as famous as Mickey Mouse. And at least Mickey is famous for bringing joy and delight to children around the world. All the recent polling of children shows that kids, on balance, fucking hate Donald Trump.
Sesame Street even made a character that is supposed to represent him named Donald Grump, which debuted in 2005.
A good rule in life is never trust anybody who hates or is hated by children and dogs.
Or cats. Cats know.
Absolutely. We all know the guy. We're all fucking tired of him. Back when I was writing for the Daily Beast in 2016, I wrote a piece where I interviewed a bunch of people about when they thought the last time would be that they'd ever have to think about Donald Trump. Most of them thought our long national nightmare would be over by 2020 at the latest.
Aaron, I'm on 3 prescriptions to deal with this national nightmare as it extends into 2024.
But despite the fact that we all will not mind forgetting about Donald Trump starting tomorrow, it's important to remember as we head toward the final stretch of this election, the Trump myth is that he's a self-made man. In truth, he was a millionaire before he was even 10 years old.
No, everything he's ever said is a lie. He's never, ever told the truth in public. I mean, you can guarantee that. He's never, ever told the truth in public about anything. I mean, we've known this since 1981 or something like that. We knew it back then. They used to say that he would call in to his own fucking, to the people that he was trying to do deals with as somebody else and be his own reference and shit like that. It's insane. Everything he does is a lie.
He received more than $430 million from his father's company and borrowed about $60 million, most of which he didn't pay back, which is called just getting money, according to a New York Times investigation. Trump fancies himself a builder, but only spreads destruction and sadness. Destruction is, in its way, its own form of power, kind of like how shitting all over the lobby of a Target and forcing it to close down for several hours as custodians clean it up is a form of power, but true creation isn't for the impatient or the stupid or the fickle. Trump is not a builder, he just ruins things. He even managed to lose money during historic bull markets. Between the mid-1980s and mid-1990s, he wrote off more losses than just about any other individual taxpayer in the entire country.
Every cultural or political space he enters, he crop dust with the stench of corruption, desperation, and indomitable, delusional self-regard. A man who more than anything wants to be seen as respectable and successful, but at the end of the day is simply an unremarkable rich kid randomly hitting buttons like a monkey in a cockpit.
So let's start at the beginning of the Trump story. Before he was a 34-time convicted felon and adjudicated rapist who held the record
Felon
for any
rapist!
president ever,
Felon rapist! Let's don't
call me
forget,
Donald Trump,
34
some
time
hamburger
time
shithead from
felony
Queens.
rapist.
Born on June 14th, 1946.
Giving Geminis everywhere a bad name.
Okay, they do a pretty good job of that without Donald Trump's help, but certainly didn't hurt. Donnie was born to Fred and Mary Trump, a Queens slumlord and stay-at-home mom.
He's got his father's nose and his mother's, hair.
The magician Penn Jillette once described it as, quote, cotton candy made of piss, and this description is so perfectly cruel and correct that I think it should be the last word on it.
Cotton
And
candy
speaking
made
of
of
cruel,
piss.
Even by Trump's own account in the best-selling, quote-unquote, autobiography,
Cotton
The
candy
Art
made
of the
of
Deal,
piss.
his father, Fred Trump, was a shithead, a bully, and an asshole. Donald's mother, Mary, experienced post-birth complications that ended in her having her uterus and ovaries removed in a brutal surgery. She got the best care available at the time because her husband had connections to the hospital. She was in and out of inpatient care for 6 months, but even so, she was left feeble and brittle, and Fred believed that looking after the children was somehow below him, so he worked 6 days a week at his slumlord factory, or whatever they called it, while his fragile wife looked after 5 children as her bones slowly withered to dust.
Well, that's an informative part of the old origin story, but back to your exaggerated air quotes, you cited Trump's autobiography, but wasn't The Art of the Deal, not written by Donald Trump at all?
Yeah, Trump had a ghostwriter named Tony Schwartz who did all the actual writing. We'll talk more about the drama around that book's 1987 publication.
I'm gonna get some
The
water.
ripple effect it had on world history in a bit.
Because a lot of the legend of Donald Trump is just crap he said he did that nobody bothered to fact check. Or fact check too late.
Yeah, his biggest skill is the audacity. Well, actually, his biggest skill was having a rich dad who had paid off the right politicians and a corrupt system that makes it nearly impossible for rich little boys to do anything but succeed. Neither of which are skills.
Lying is at least something Trump does himself.
True, and credit where it's due, Donald Trump lies a lot. Constantly even. He may be the greatest, biggest, most tremendous liar of all time. And so the book of his life is filled with easily disproven lies. One of the funniest is the lie that his father's ancestors came to the U.S. from Sweden. They did not. Do you think that guy looks Swedish?
No.
He does
He
not.
does not, but what a weird thing to
No, he
lie
looks
about,
he looks
especially because Trump and
Croatian or what's the other one? Ukrainian.
his goons were so gleeful about mocking Kamala Harris over the fact that she's both black and Indian, and they can't understand what a biracial person is.
Maybe Trump thinks she's lying about her ancestry because he spent many years lying about his ancestry. That old chestnut about how he confesses by accusing.
Which makes all this recent lying about Haitians eating pets even more disturbing. What have you been up to, Donald? Is this why you don't have pets?
Oh, what an awful thought. Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump Sr., was a real peach. In 1927, he was arrested after a KKK rally in Queens.
I'm assuming he wasn't selling cotton candy without a permit.
And that wasn't the
Oh,
only time he-
good. Trump's father was at the KKK.
arrest means.
I'm assuming it's even more disturbing. What have you been up to, Donald? Is this why you don't have pets?
Oh, what an awful thought. Donald Trump's father, Fred Trump Sr., was a real peach. In 1927, he was arrested after a KKK rally in Queens.
I'm gonna link this to my friend. Oh yeah, of course not. Yeah, I don't think there's any evidence saying that his father was actually.
I'm assuming he wasn't selling cotton candy without a permit.
Yeah, I'm making an assumption. Usually, you wouldn't be caught dead at a KKK rally, unless you're with the KKK, or you're being like hung or shot or burned or something.
And that wasn't the only time he'd been arrested. He was also taken into custody in 1976 over permitting issues in a building he ran in a majority black county in Maryland. Trump's dad, Fred, was, as I mentioned before, a slumlord by all accounts, and a racist one. In 1973, Trump, his dad, and his dad's business were sued by the Department of Justice for violating the Fair Housing Act.
However, did they get caught?
Well, here's how they were outfoxed, Alyssa. The Justice Department sent black people posing as prospective tenants to ask if any apartments were available in a specific Trump development. And then they sent white prospective tenants, and the black prospective tenants were told there were no units available, and the white tenants were told there were.
Another tale as old as time in Trumpland. So the Trumps were outsmarted by the simplest trap possible.
Oh, good. You were racist 60 years ago like we all thought you were. Big surprise. Oh, yeah, it turns out you were always like this.
That is Scooby-Doo level. You know that old saying, when you're a hammer, everything looks like a nail? Well, Trump is a hammer.
When the Karens are trying to take shots at you, that's when you know you done fucked up as a person, you know? If the Karens are scoring shots on you, you're probably an asshole that really needs to maybe step down, you know? Just saying. If the Karens are taking really, really careful shots at you, if the mothers are taking shots at you, you are an asshole, and you should probably abstain.
Everything like a plate glass window.
Yeah, when confronted, the building superintendent told black prospective tenants that he was given instructions not to rent to black people by the owners of the place.
That sounds like the Trump that I know. I heard a nasty bit about him. 5 years before he ever ran for president, right? I remember the day I heard it too. I don't know why, but it just stuck in my head that day when I heard about this because it stuck out. Someone mentioned to me that Donald Trump had actually, did they mention that he might be running for president? It was right around that time when he said he might be running for president, but he hadn't actually done it yet, right? And somebody told me this old story about how he had kicked a black waiter out of Atlantic City in one of those fucking casinos, and like they were in some fucking she fucking it was like a board of directors fucking party or something like that at Atlantic City Casino, and they were all eating fried chicken or something like that. And when the fried chicken was brought by a black waiter, I remember my friend who worked at the he was a Haitian. No, sorry, he wasn't Haitian. He was French. He was French. He was French, black French man from France, and his claim to fame is that he had met Jim Jones because he grew up in that city that Jim Jones did his thing in, killed all those people in I think it was it Africa? I forget where it was, or no, it was like some other weird place. Was it Cuba? I forget where it was, but yeah. But anyways, I had a friend who told me a weird story, and he was like, "You don't have to believe me about this, but you know that guy they say he's gonna run for president?" And I'm like, "Yeah, Donald Trump. Yeah, I heard." And he's like, "Yeah." I heard that he kicked a black waiter out of his Atlantic City casino. This is how he said it too. And he didn't call him any he didn't call him any names or anything, but he was but he sent the food back and kicked the black waiter out of this chair meeting party that they were having and got the guy fired. And that one stuck with me because I don't think this guy's making up that story. I don't know why he would be. He was like this dumbass criminal in the halfway house. And I don't think he was telling that story because he made it up. I think he was telling me that story because it happened and there were witnesses and it's true. I don't think the guy had that kind of creativity. I think he was repeating a story straight from the horse's fucking mouth. You know, it's one of those times when you're like, yeah, I'm not a detective. Maybe maybe the guy made it up. I don't know. But like fucking like that's what he told me, and I believed it ever since. And that was like 3 years before he won or something like that. I think it was like 2016 or something like that. 2 years before, I think it was, or no, it was like a year before he won. It Was that 2016 when he won? I think it was, yeah. And like, and yeah, it was like 1 or 2 years before that. It was like 2015 or something like that. And I heard this fucking weird backroom like rumor. And that was long before we even knew that he was going to be president, much less like even truly be in the race and stuff. And that was the story, and I'll never fucking forget it. Now, is it true? Who the fuck knows? I'm not going to say it's true. It was just hearsay that I heard. But I believe it. It was such a weird fucking thing. You want to know why I believe it? It's because I've seen it another time. But it's weird because I've seen him kick a black man out of his rally. But I've but I but the rumor about him kicking the black waiter out of that fucking Atlantic City casino and embarrassing him, getting him fired for bringing him food. And in that one I believe, and the only reason I believe is that I've seen him do it before. We've seen this one a lot, you know. I've got my black supporter here.
We're winning all over. Do I hear somebody over there? You know, you have one guy over there shouting.
I hate that his generation used to do this. Is some kind of thing that they used to do on crappy 50s television shows when they're like, oh, she's crazy. And I hate this because nobody's used that fucking facial. Nobody but their generation ever used that piss ass fucking phrase or this execution that they do. Like, right? It's like the Valley Girl wave, right? And it's sorry, but it's a Valley Girl wave, Trump, and you look like a goddamn Valley Girl. Look at him do it. It's an affect that's quite literally very studied and very Valley Girl. Look at it. Watch his hands and watch the movement. Watch, it's literally clueless. There it is. See it? Oh, just shaking his head.
You know, you have one guy over there shouting. We have thousands of people, and you'll read about him tomorrow. They'll say, oh, the room had a picket. All right, yeah, get him the hell out of here, will you, please? Get him out of here. Throw him out.
That's the nice one. I want to see the meme one. Tina Peterson, 9 years, huh? Ooh. Yeah, election interference. Yeah, I forgot about that. Here's Cheney's daughter ripping into Trump, which is hilarious. Like, I don't know. It's just funny. I didn't want to get caught up in Trump. It's just kind of funny. I don't know.
That'll do it. So Trump's father was an asshole, and Trump too is an asshole. But are assholes born, or are they made?
That's a question that has driven
Made.
child development research for generations. In Trump's case, it sounds like he was born one and then was made one that was even worse than the one he was born as. Starting in 8th grade, he was sent to a military academy, which is not something that good boys are sent to do. In the
I
Art
wanna
of the
send
Deal,
this
the
video
author
to my
claims that
mother.
it was because Trump was a, quote, tough and aggressive kid.
Ah, yes, I remember this detail from when he was first running for president. That's why he said that he always felt as though he'd been in the military to a crowd of many actual members of the actual military.
Yeah, well, to paraphrase one of Trump's biggest fans, feelings aren't facts. Not only was Donald Trump never in the military, he graduated from a military academy at the height of the Vietnam War, and he received 5 draft deferments from having to join the real military.
As the old proverb
5
goes,
draft
everybody play the tough
deferments.
guy till shit pop off.
Absolutely. Good ASAP Rocky reference,
Thanks so much.
Alyssa. The deferments were because Trump's doctors claimed that he had bone spurs on his feet. The bone spurs were not enough to prevent him from playing multiple sports in high school, nor were they ever present in his subsequent life in a way that prevented him from doing pretty much anything he wanted. Many years later, his personal attorney, Michael Cohen, would tell a congressional committee that Trump had made up the bone spurs to avoid going to Vietnam. Trump would then attend college at Fordham and transfer to the Wharton School at the University of Pennsylvania.
That always confused me. One of the only true things that Trump repeats over and over is that Wharton is a pretty good school. Tough to get into, even in the 1960s.
You're not alone in wondering how Trump, by all accounts, a broken-brained dum-dum who hates to read, business schools in the country. But like everything else Trump has convinced himself he accomplished on his own, he couldn't have done it without help from Daddy.
Of course, the kind of affirmative action for rich kids this world needs more of.
According to Washington Post reporting from 2019, in 1966, an admissions official at the school got a call from Trump's brother, Fred Jr. Fred asked the admissions officer if he remembered his brother Donald. The admissions officer was like, no. Nevertheless, the officer agreed to interview Donald, and guess who shows up with Donald to the interview?
Oh my God, Fred. Aaron, no. What kind of college-age loser needs their daddy to help them transfer out of Fordham?
I mean, if you can't do it by the time you're in your early 20s, maybe you should continue going to Fordham. It's no secret that Trump started real estate development because Daddy Trump
Oh my
had a
God.
thriving business.
Listen to these Karens fucking score on Trump repeatedly. They're like slam dunking him. When the Karens are making fun of you, you need to abstain. I mean, this literally, you heard it here first. If the Karens are scoring off of you, quite literally, they're just scoring off you like home free, no problem. Just scoring shots off you. Shots are fired and they're dishing on you. I think that's how they call it. They're dishing on you, right? They're like eating you alive. When you have become a matter of a public Karen ridicule, it is time to abstain from whatever job you're in and move to a different country, maybe. Because if the Karens are making fun of you, it's over.
In the space.
Trust me, if the white women will not support you.
Laughed and just comment that Trump's dad gave him a, quote, small loan of $1 million.
Only a small
That's
loan.
according to Trump, who lies about everything. So maybe we can assume that whatever money he was given was a larger amount.
The characterization of a $1 million small loan is even contradicted by
$1
Trump's
million
ghostwriter in the
small
interview,
loan.
which Alyssa
The fuck, it's a loan for $1 million. Like at that point, right? Are you, so hold on. I've got $3 million, but I'm short $1 million on this $4 million per. Who the fuck loans $1 million to somebody? Who needs a loan of $1 million? Right? Are you thinking about this right? It's sort of dumb. Like I guess it might make sense if you're on a really tight margin and you're like a $3 millionaire and you need $4 million to buy that 3D printer that you want to make ghost guns with or whatever the fuck, right? Or whatever, and make a ghost gun business or whatever, or something dumb like that that will make you super rich or whatever, and it's just kind of funny, and oh my God, I don't know, it's just funny. It's like who the fuck loans $1 million to somebody? Who needs to borrow $1 million? Anybody who needs to borrow $1 million better have $5 or $10 million. Why would they need to borrow $1 million if they have $5 or $10 million? It's kind of like, hey, can I borrow $1 billion, please? What? Sure could go for $1 billion right now.
to you. I read in its
No,
entirety.
Aaron.
God damn
Aaron,
it.
No.
I know. I had to. I didn't want to be a hack about this. Okay, so in The Art of the Deal, there's a chapter called The Cincinnati Kid, which recounts what Trump claims is one of the early deals of his career, wherein he and his dad bought a struggling apartment building in southern Ohio. By Donald's telling, buying Swift and Village was his idea. He said that they eventually tricked the next buyers into paying them $12 million for it, for a $6 million profit. But a member of the maintenance crew that was there at the time said that Donald would only show up occasionally to like rake leaves, and most of the deal was done with his dad. That's an assertion that is backed up by the fact that Donald was sequestered at his military boarding school at the time and couldn't possibly have been part of the decisions he claims to have been a part of.
Predictable.
And the property was sold for only $6 million 8 years later, which was about $1 million more than the Trump business paid for it. And with maintenance and upgrades, it's unclear that they made any profit at all.
Not making a profit feels like very bad business.
There's also the tall tale of the Grand Hyatt in New York City. In The Art of the Deal, Trump basically coalesces every major player in the story into one character. Him. He also makes a meal of the story of him wheeling and dealing with the CEO of Tiffany & Company, which happened because Donald's daddy, once again, had a relationship that his big, stupid son could leverage.
When we talk about baby Trump doing baby Trump things, I have to remind myself that Trump may be a disgusting old bag of flesh now, but there was a time when he was a disgusting young bag of flesh.
Well, it's gross to think about, but yeah, absolutely, Alyssa. Donald Trump as old.
Look at that picture. I should put that on my desktop, but people would get the wrong idea.
As he sounds in the present day, when it's embodied the coke.
Oh no, look, he's so rosy-cheeked and young. This was before cheating on his wife, the 34 felonies, the 34 rapes, and the Russian kibitzing. Look how rosy-cheeked and innocent he seems. He hasn't raped any women yet, or, you know, made any sexual comments about his daughter. Snuck in on the children at the Miss Universe pageant and everything. All the 6-year-olds at the Miss Universe pageant, or shaking Jeffrey's hand yet.
Doubt rich people free
By that I mean visit his private island.
for all that was the 1980s. He became a darling of the New York tabloids.
Yeah.
But Trump loved to play the press like a fiddle. What we didn't know back then was that Trump planted most of the stories about himself and even pretended to be his own spokesperson repeatedly throughout the years, using names like John Barron and John Miller.
John Barron and John Miller, and we all know what Barron is. Uh-oh.
Calling a newspaper and not even trying to disguise your very distinctive
Like, not
voice,
even a little.
pretending to be some other guy. Real amateur shit, Donald. Call me when you come up to the big leagues with those of us pretending to be our own lawyers to get out of gym memberships. Second of all, it is never not funny to me that Trump.
Yeah, what's the accent? It's really weird. It's like Upper East Side, but snob, and it's really unattractive. It's Upper East Side snob. What would you call Trump's accent? Is it Upper East Side snob, white trash? Because it's kind of weird. It comes across as snobby white trash, like nouveau riche, but they're old money. No, they're like new money, I think.
Eventually
They are nouveau riche kind of like people. They're so like tacky.
named his youngest legitimate child Barron.
Beyond.
Barron.
Barron, after the fake name he gave himself.
Oh my God! Look at that little Trump. It's a little Eichmann. He's gonna have a hunchback like his father soon. Oh my God! It's a Mr. Burns in the making. A star was Burns. This picture is like a star was Burns. Oh my God!
When planting stories in the tabloids in the 1980s.
Listen to this. A 1976 New York Times profile of Donald Trump as an up-and-coming real estate Nepo baby begins as follows. He is tall, lean, and blonde, with dazzling white teeth, and he looks ever so much like Robert Redford.
I'm willing to bet
What?
that the source for Donald Trump looks like Robert Redford was someone who had the general appearance of Donald Trump wearing Groucho glasses.
No, Aaron, don't be silly. It was legitimate source John Barron. I bet Robert Redford had some real feelings about that comparison.
John
It's so
Barron.
bizarre to look back on some of these news clippings from the 80s because it becomes immediately clear that Trump has, always been like this.
Yeah, in another Times article about his empire and ego in 1983, Trump was already saying
The
shit
empire
like,
and ego
no
of
one
Donald
has
Trump.
done more than I
In the last
7
years.
Okay, Lord Farquaad.
By that time, he was already married to his first wife, Ivana Trump, who was a former model and Czech Olympic skier.
Okay, he claimed she was a former top model and Czech Olympic skier. That claim was eventually debunked by the legendary Spy magazine, the same place, by the way, that coined the phrase short-fingered vulgarian in describing Trump.
Spy fact-checked Trump and found that not only was Ivana not an Olympic skier, nor was she an alternate, whatever that means, she was not a top model. Still, her oldest son, Don Jr., was, as recently as this year, claiming that his mother had been an Olympian. She's not. She never was.
You hear that, ladies? You can strive and work and convince your family that you're an Olympian, mutilate your face and body in the pursuit of the standard your rich husband demands, and you still end up buried unceremoniously on the 9th hole at the Trump Bedminster Golf Course in New Jersey.
The tabloids love to cover Trump and Ivana and their high-rolling lifestyle, as well as Trump's high-profile philandering. That 1983 profile noted how frequently Trump appeared around the city in the company of fashion models.
This show is sponsored by BetterHelp. So over the last couple years, I've taught myself how to garden in the climate where I currently live, which is much different than the climate where I grew up. And it's been a lot of trial and error. I've had to kill a lot of plants along the way, but now I feel like I've got a pretty good handle on how to grow plants, how to keep a nice lawn, no mow grass, obviously, and how to take care of things in the climate where I currently live. Similarly, it has been important for me to learn how to cultivate the garden of my emotional landscape, if you will, and therapy is a great tool for that. Just having the self-awareness to understand when I'm engaging in a pattern that is helpful or not helpful, and being able to stop and take a look at what my next choice is going to be as a choice rather than something that I must do because I've always done it that way. If you're thinking of starting therapy, give BetterHelp a try. It's entirely online, designed to be convenient, flexible, and suited to your schedule. Just fill out a brief questionnaire to get matched with a licensed therapist and switch therapists anytime for no additional charge. Rediscover your curiosity with BetterHelp. Visit betterhelp.com/hysteriapod
People
today
switch
to get
therapists all
10%
the
off your first
time,
month. That's BetterHelp.
because most of the time it doesn't work, I don't think.
HELP.com/hysteriapod.
Not that it's their fault.
Around the mid to late 1980s, while still very much married to Ivana, who had by that point given him 3 children who would later terrorize America in their own special ways, Trump began having an affair with model and sometimes actress Marla Maples, though for years the two claimed they were just friends.
That's ridiculous, the idea that Trump has ever had a friend.
This was also around the
Marla.
same time that Trump was super busy doing important things,
Marla.
like hanging out with Ghislaine Maxwell on her dad's yacht.
And here we
Marla.
are back with another episode.
You can tell that he likes her name, Marla. He probably says it all the time. Marla, Marla, Marla. It's such a Trump word. Marla. I can't say it like him. Marla. He like opens his mouth. He's like Marla, because he thinks that he's rich or whatever, but he's nouveau riche and low class. And so he's like Marla.
Episode of 6 Degrees of Jeffrey Epstein.
Trump and Ivana announced their separation in 1989, and their divorce was finalized in 1990. The divorce cost Donald
Marla.
at least $25 million.
Oh no, Marla. You caused the $25 million divorce. No, not Marla.
Like another bad deal for a guy whose whole persona is based on being good at making deals. He was then free to pursue his shiny, new 26-year-old girlfriend, fulfilling his creepy midlife crisis destiny.
Marla then showed up on every tabloid as
Marla.
well, with headlines like Trump mistress close to suicide.
Marla.
Yeah, I would imagine seeing Donald Trump's penis would do that to you.
Ivana and
Oh.
Donald's divorce proceedings became a tabloid extravaganza.
If the Karens are
It was
making
around this time
fun
that the tabloids
of your
became just a little less
penis,
friendly to the Donalds.
you should
Divorce
abstain.
proceedings exposed
You are now public enemy number 1. If the Karens of the world are scoring dick jokes on you, you need to abstain, asshole. You've lost. It's clear as day. I actually kind of hope you do continue to run. I think it's weird because it's how many days till it's like what 5 weeks till the election and stuff. And I actually kind of hope that you do try to do this all the way through. But I kind of hope you do sort of give up, because I want I want it both ways, because I'd really like to see these Karens continue to score fucking cheap shots on you for the rest of my life. I think it's fucking comedic gold. It's really funny to me. Oh no, what happened? No, what happened? Stop now. Stop now. No, we'll go to system or whatever. Yeah, just close. You're fine. We good, we Gucci, okay. What was I gonna say? Wait, it's all bright again now. Why is it super bright now? That's weird. Well, I think I'll duck up actually. Well, no, I'll go down to one more time. We'll go one more. We'll do one more. I'm not tired. I want to stay up and stupid.
Warp drive active.
I've got to get my mouse. There we
Even
go.
shittier than most.
So
people
I want the Karens to score jokes on you after you lose, and I want the Karens to score jokes on you if you win. It's gonna be hilarious. Either way, they're gonna hate you, and you're still not gonna be a good person. No one's ever really gonna like you.
pretty new.
Chiefly, in a sworn deposition, Ivana claimed that Trump had physically abused and raped her during their marriage, though she walked this back following their settlement.
Oh, good. So he
Expected.
non-disclosured the rape of his wife. Very good. That sounds like the Donald Trump that I know. Yeah.
With 90s Trump in a minute, but not a great start to the decade. Now that we've arrived in the late 1980s, it's time to talk about the book that introduced America to the character of Donald Trump, the fun-loving business scamp who at the end of the day just wanted to build nice buildings and create luxuries for people with the
You mean
means to
blow
buy
$1 billion
Talking about the art of the deal.
Up to this
on
point,
cocaine
what
and
New Yorkers knew
non-disclosure
about Donald Trump
agreements?
was what we've just told you. He was a spoiled rich boy who wanted to join clubs that didn't want him as a member, but whose paternal connections afforded him access to a sort of luxury kabuki that made him, as John Mulaney famously said, what a hobo imagines a rich man to be. He's already bought Mar-a-Lago and a few casinos in Atlantic City that he was somehow managing to run into the ground. In fact, by 1992, all of his Atlantic City casinos would be bankrupt.
Yeah, at one point, Trump was in such dire financial straits with his casinos that he had, guess who, Daddy, send a guy to buy $3 million worth of chips at one of them to save it from financial ruin. Trump was, in reality, a bumbling fail son. But that was eclipsed by the loud, bold-type lie that was The Art of the Deal. Trump claims that The Art of the Deal is the best-selling business book of all time. It's not the #1 best-selling business book of all time, outsold The Art of the Deal 15-fold, but that's not the stupidest lie around the book, Alyssa. I read the steaming coil of poo, and I have to say, it bored me out of my mind. The first 50 or so pages, Alyssa, consist of something called A Week in the Life, and it's just a list of what Donald Trump does all day, which was sit at his desk. I swear, he sits at his desk, and he calls people on the phone, and he explains to us why each person he was calling was important. Like, I feel bad for the trees that died to make pages in this slimy, worthless rag. I will never get the time back that I wasted on such kernels of wisdom as I play to people's fantasies. People want to believe that something is the biggest and the greatest and the most spectacular. I call it truthful hyperbole.
And here we see the kernels of his debate prep strategy, Alternative Facts version 1.0.
Creating stories. Secondly, I'm so unclear what his job is or what it means to make a deal. Like, 300 plus pages, and I'm like, what is your job? The closest I've been able to get is that the book makes more sense if you Control F replace deal with the phrase getting people to give me money. Or maybe more accurately, autofellatio. That means the art of sucking your own.
I get it.
Okay.
I get it. I get it.
Okay. So the book was a massive success in a real sense of the word, not in a Donald Trump truthful hyperbole sense of the word. It sold millions of copies, stayed on the bestseller list for the better part of a year. It lent Trump a credibility he didn't have before to people outside of New York City tabloid circulation. Most importantly, it got him attention and an audience that would let him get away with lying about how important and effective he
These
was.
people are so
One of
funny.
my favorite parts was when he tried to finesse one of the greatest faceplants in the history of sports business when he bought the New Jersey Generals football team in a
Oh,
league that was
no.
meant to compete with the NFL. And then he tried to sue the NFL to break up the monopoly, and then that got fucked up so badly that his entire league collapsed.
Well, when you can't crack casinos, why not try sports? You know, if the league hadn't collapsed, he'd have ended up betting against his own team to make more money because he has no loyalty to anything ever.
Yeah, all this came after he tried unsuccessfully and multiple times to buy other pro football teams. But the owners basically shut him out because even they could see through their haze of greed thick enough to obscure CTE that Trump was a joke that didn't know what he was doing. But here's the main takeaway from The Art of the Deal. Even if everything in it were true, it would still be shit. Sorry, Tony. The genius business advice in The Art of the Deal is anodyne at best and patronizing to its lowest common denominator audience at worst. I'd say a low point is when the book defines leverage as having something the other guy wants, or clarifies that Diana Ross is a singer.
Thanks, bro.
And Schwartz would later admit that Donald Trump was so easily distracted and impatient with the interview questions that the character of Trump in the book is mostly just something he invented by following Donald Trump around. Because in real negotiations in life, there's no finesse from Team Trump. There's threats, bullying, intimidation, lying, insulting, and brute force. Trump's deal-making style is about as artful as a date rape. There is also an anecdote in the book about how he evicted long-term rent-controlled tenants at a building on Central Park South. In it, even through his rose-colored myth-building glasses, Trump alludes to using slumlord tactics to displace residents in the service of replacing the building with something tacky and expensive. He was widely criticized for these tactics, and even if he won, the battles always cost him a lot of money.
Tacky and expensive, Aaron. He should put it on his license plates.
Absolutely. I think it's implied by just his whole thing. But he doesn't always win in practice. There's a great film turned 8-part BBC podcast called Trumped about a small community in Scotland that stood up to Trump in the early 2000s in a battle that is still going on. Trump and his cronies tried to build a golf course on protected and ecologically important land in the northeast of the country, including on the land of one farmer named Michael Forbes, who was later named Top Scot of the Year for his utter refusal to leave his property. Trump and his company rolled in thinking they'd just be able to buy ancestral homes out from under people, and then, when the people didn't want to sell, they tried to convince the Scottish government to force them off their land. Which shows me, even though Trump's mom is Scottish, he's never actually been in a fight with a real Scot. They are stubborn motherfuckers, and we have to stand.
Thank you for your service, Aaron.
Thanks. My brain is now Velveeta on a radiator. But what I want to focus on is that Trump didn't write the book. His ghostwriter, a young magazine editor named Tony Schwartz, did. And in a piece in The New Yorker published in 2016, months before Trump was elected president, Schwartz had some pretty revealing things to say about his role in the book.
At this point, I don't know if there are any more word plays that can be done on the title.
Don't worry, we don't need one. The book was filled with bombacity, flat-out falsehoods, like we were talking about, and Tony Schwartz recounted that Trump, even before he clearly couldn't coherently answer simple questions during town halls or media appearances, had trouble telling the difference between reality and fiction. Either that or he didn't care. For example, Schwartz wrote the book. People at the book's publisher backed this up. One executive from the publisher commented on Trump's authorship by noting that Donald Trump didn't even write them a damn postcard. But Schwartz thinks that Trump has convinced himself that he did write it.
Well, that tracks.
One particular part that stood out to me was when Donnie recounted trying to break into the Manhattan social scene in the 80s. He didn't drink and has claimed that he's never done drugs, but was desperate to join a social club called Le Club.
That's the most 80s name for anything ever. Also, how appropriately creepy is it that he was just this leering, sober guy at a club full of people imbibing drugs and alcohol, and that was the entire center of his social life. Look, you can be a fun, sober person, but the way Trump integrated with that world, it sounds kind of predatory.
Imagine that, Trump acting weird and predatory. So Trump says in the book that he tries to join the club, but the old guys who run it are hesitant. He's so young and good looking that they're worried he's going to steal their wives.
Yes, Aaron, so young, so handsome. Fun fact, though, did you know that according to Ian Schrager, founder of Studio 54, that Trump frequented the club, but he never saw him dance, ever? Feels pathological.
Wow, he is literally the guy that just stands there at the end of the dance floor looking at people who are dancing. But having seen him dance on the campaign trail, I can kind of see why he was a real turd in the punch bowl of Studio 54. Part of the deal, Trump scoffs at the notion of Trump being some kind of wife thief, noting that his parents had been married for 50 years and his mom was a goddamn saint, and that he'd never break up a marriage. Unbeknownst to the book's ghostwriter and most of its readers, Trump was, at that very moment, in the process of breaking up his own marriage. Almost 350 pages later, Alyssa, I don't know what his job is.
Here's the thing about the art of the deal that is, on a meta level, kind of funny. So Tony Schwartz actually negotiated a really good deal for himself. 50% of the proceeds from sales.
Wow, I thought Trump was good at making deals. He wrote a whole book about it. Or he pretended to.
Trump didn't even push back when Schwartz asked for it, but then after the book came out and he was doing well, Trump threw himself and the book a lavish party at Trump Tower with a bunch of minor celebrity guests. And then he billed Tony Schwartz for half of it.
What the fuck?
But Tony Schwartz was able to negotiate the payment down to a small donation to a charity of Schwartz's choice.
Wow, actually pretty Trumpy negotiating skills.
And Trump went for it.
Because he's not actually good at business. He's lucky, he's boorish, and he's mean. While writing the book, Schwartz also noticed that Trump didn't read, something that tracks with what we now know about him. He'd just sit there and thumb through the papers maybe and watch a lot of TV and bother people by calling them on the phone and yapping at him for a half hour or so.
Guess that explains why Trump said this month that he hadn't read his current wife Melania's book. He simply got too much nothing to read to possibly make more space in his schedule for his wife.
Where is Melania? Melania, by the way.
Has there ever been a wife who publicly projected hating her husband more?
Maybe Annie Murphy's character in Kevin Can Fuck Himself, or Marcia Roy when Logan was taking up with Carrie. Maybe?
Maybe.
So, in the depths of his own regret, Schwartz donated all the proceeds of the sales of The Art of the Deal from 2016 to charities that supported causes that Trump would have hated. And in recent years, he's asked the Library of Congress to recategorize it as a work of fiction, which isn't nothing.
It's not nothing, but it's the least he could have done. It's more than Trump ever would have done.
We're now in the 1990s. I already feel like I've aged 20 years.
In 1993, a tell-all biography called Lost Tycoon, The Many Lives of Donald J. Trump by Harry Hurt III was published and ushered in a newly forming consensus that Donald Trump was maybe, hear us out, a fraud. He lost so much money during the 1980s that he dropped off wealthy dudes list. The Art of the Deal, turns out, came out right before he almost completely
Okay, guys, I'm going to stop here. I don't think I can make it through the rest of the video. I'm going to go to bed. I'm terribly sorry. I'm tired, and it's like 5:50 in the morning, and it's raining, and I'm going to go to bed. I want to say thank you for hanging out with me today. We got some good EvE and some good Icarus and some good New World and some good FFXI. And I will be back tomorrow sometime in the afternoon to do this again. And thank you so much for your time. Thank you. And so my website is skycat.live. I am a full-time variety gamer all day, every day. Put me on in the background. Click on the cat's face to donate. Come to Twitch or YouTube. And thank you for all of your lovely support and all the follows and everything. And thank you for everything. You guys have a wonderful day. And y'all take care. And I love you. Take care. Bye-bye. There's the video.